How's it going, guys? It's Parallax Abstraction, and this is the Geek Bravado Ramble, and this is my Extra Life 2015 little post-show wrap-up video I like to do. Actually, my second attempt at doing this. I thought I would try this yesterday, the day after the event, and I was so bloody tired that I not only sounded like crap, but I forgot a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to say. I was editing it today, and I was like, nah, this is no good. So I'm doing it again, so I'm a little bit more rested now, so you will, I will not seem as dead, which is good, but it is the evening indeed, so cheers, everybody. Yes. So yeah, Extra Life, man. What a year this year. This year was unique in many, many ways, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it, and there's a lot to talk about and a lot of people to thank and just a lot of cool stuff to mention. So let's get right to it. So first of all, let's talk numbers, because that's, you know, what in the end, that's what we're here to do, right? So yeah, it was something else. So for numbers here, so for my campaign this year, I set a more modest goal than other years. It was still a lofty goal in terms of Extra Life, but I set a $1,000 goal this year because, as I said in my pitch video, the Canadian dollar's in the toilet, which is difficult, and I'm unemployed right now, so I don't have big bases of coworkers to tap, which is always makes things a little more difficult, but a whole bunch of people came through, so yeah, as of time of recording, my total amount raised for Extra Life 2015 is $1,550 US. Man, I am just blown away. I really wasn't sure I was even going to hit my $1,000 goal, and thanks to some incredible people, that was smashed. And I couldn't be happier. And honestly, my record in terms of raw dollar numbers was around $2,000 in 2012 when I played Dark Souls for 24 hours. But the Canadian dollar was more or less on par with the US dollar then, so when you factor in the conversion now, I've raised about the similar amount of money this time out, because the money will be converted into Canadian dollars by the time Chiyo gets it. So in reality, I've probably raised almost $2,000 at this point, and if I get a few more donations, this could be a record post-conversion, which is really incredible. Dr. Poulet also had a pretty good year. It was his first year doing it, so any year would have been a record. But he has raised, right now at time of recording, almost $400, which is really good for a first time out. So he did really well. The Ottawa Guild Superstars team, which is a team that we created for the newly formed Ottawa Guild for any members of the guild who didn't have other teams that they were participating with. That team, we set a goal of $2,000, and we are at, I believe, it's either, hang on a second, I'll tell you right now. We are at $2,815. That's gone up almost $100 since I did my first recording yesterday. What? Holy crap, that's amazing. And actually, yeah, I just found out Dr. Poulet has actually hit $400. So, man, good for him. And Extra Life as a whole completely obliterated records this year. They have raised, as of right now, $6.36 million. That blows away last year's total, and they also said that they have crossed the $20 million total money raised since this event launched in 2008. That's incredible. This thing is mainstream now. It has gone global, it has gone big, and it is killing it, and it's incredible. As I've said before, this is an event that's really, really important to me. It's a big part of my life, and I'm so glad to see it growing in leaps and bounds and succeeding so well, and doing so much good for sick kids around the world. It's really something. Chiyo, the hospital that I play for, they told the guild this year that Extra Life has become a very important event for them as well, because it has raised so much money. And our hope this year was that we could cross $100,000 raised for Chiyo. I don't know what the numbers are. We probably won't know until the next guild meeting, but I hope we did. I really hope we managed to make a difference. The Ottawa Guild, it was the first year doing it this year, and it's had some challenges. I think it's done some good stuff, but I also think we had some back-end issues that we need to sort out. That I hope we can improve next year. But I hope that we still had a big impact. That would be really, really incredible. At our last guild meeting, they brought by an incredible young man named Devin Payette, who is Chiyo's, what they call the Chiyo champion this year. He's kind of the kid that Chiyo is using his story and whatnot to help fundraise with. And he's a really special guy who loves video games and who has been through hell in terms of the treatment that he has dealt with throughout his life. But he really wanted to meet the guild, and he loves Extra Life, and he loves video games, and we geeked out for like 20 minutes over retro games at our last meeting, which was within a minute of me meeting him, which was just incredible. Kids like him are why we do this, and I'm really glad to see it's going so well. And obviously, I have all you guys who have donated to this cause to thank for that. I mean, you're the reason we do this. Raising money for the kids is why we do this, and the money comes from you guys. So it's really amazing. And the fact that my campaign went so well this year, despite my current employment situation and the tough economy in Canada and everything else, is really a testament to a lot of great people. So yeah, thank every one of you who donated. You are all superstars. You're all rock stars. Whether you donated a tiny amount or a ton, it doesn't matter. It's still, it all helps immensely. And I'm eternally grateful to everyone who did that. In particular, there are a few people I did want to shout out to. Obviously, my mom, Lynn, who is an amazing lady, stepped up this year. She's retired and on a limited income, so she doesn't have a ton of money to throw around, but she herself donated $200 to the campaign and nagged a bunch of her friends who also put in money. So thank you to her for that. Several of my freelance clients stepped up in a big way and donated large chunks of money. Dr. Michelle Dondino, who is a big client of mine, he donated $100. I have several other clients who donated $50, which was amazing. I did put out the coin jars this year at a couple of locations. Unfortunately, and this is entirely my fault, I did that way too late. And I've collected 2 of 3 of them so far, and they didn't have much in them. I think we got about maybe $15 in total from those. I have one more to collect tomorrow, but it'll probably be around the same. But I still want to thank Ivan's European Deli in Stittsville, Jim Dickinson Autotech, and the Cake Shop in Westboro for hosting those for me. They did much better last year, and it was mostly because I put them out much, much sooner. Like, I think it was a month or 2 in advance, whereas I only did it 2 weeks this time. That's my fault, and I won't make that mistake again. So thank you guys so much for doing that. And one of the places who did take a coin jar last year but couldn't this year was Big D's Doghouse, which is a really amazing food truck in Stittsville, and run by Dennis, who is a really, really good dude. And he actually closed for the season this year before Extra Life. And I tweeted at him one day, and I was just like, oh, it's too bad that happened, because we won't be able to do anything for Extra Life this year. And he went, well, yeah, he's like, you're right, but he said, come by he lives nearby, and he was like, well, come by, I still want to help out, and I've got a check for you. And I was like, oh, well, that's really cool of you, thanks, dude. And I figured, give me $20, $50, something like that, not a big deal, whatever. So I go over to his place, and he just sort of nonchalantly opens his checkbook, and he says, okay, I'm going to give you $150. And I'm like, sorry? And that he did. He gave me $150 towards my campaign, which I put in as 150 US, and I ate the conversion on that because I think that was the least I could do to pitch in for that. That was really incredible of him. Thank you, Dennis. You are an awesome dude, and check out BigD'sDoghouse.com if you live in Ottawa. He'll be up and running again next year, and this guy, the stuff that comes out of that truck is incredible, and I can't wait to partake next year, believe me. And then this is the thing that really blew my mind. So in Canada, if you live in Canada, I'm sure you are famous with the 3 big, what we call telecartels, Bell, Rogers, and TELUS. Think of them as, companies like Comcast and Time Warner in the States. They're huge companies that provide terrible service at inflated prices, and everybody hates them. Well, in Canada, for the last number of years, we actually have had some competition when it comes to internet providers, and there are third-party alternatives that are usually cheaper and provide good service that I very regularly encourage people to use. One that people know in Canada is Tech Savvy. They're sort of the biggest indie ISP, if you will. And I was with them for a long time, and I have nothing against them. I think they're pretty good. But I switched a little while ago to a Small internet provider based out of London, Ontario, called Start Communications. And this is not sponsored content, by the way, just in case anybody thinks that. I'm not being paid to say this, but I am saying it because it's so incredible. So I switched to these guys a while ago from TechSavvy simply because I need unlimited, no data cap service because of stuff like this. I move a lot of data around. And they had cheaper unlimited service than TechSavvy did for the same cable speed that I had. So I switched to them. They've been fantastic. Their connections are fast. Their prices are reasonable. This connection, which we've had for the better part of a year, has never gone down once, ever. Well, it has, but it's either been because of, the router or the power went out or something. Not because of them. It has never gone down the whole time I've been with them. Their service is fantastic. They're one of these places where you call the phone number and a human picks up the phone. They've been really amazing. And I went, as you do when you're fundraising, you send things out to people like tweets and emails going, hey, I'm doing this thing for fundraising. Can you help me spread word? And Start has about 3,300 followers on Twitter, so I was like, I'll try that and see what happens. So I tweeted at them and I said, hey, I'm a loyal customer who really loves your service, and I'm going to be using your service to stream out Extra Life. Would you mind retweeting my campaign? And they did that, and I was like, cool, good on you, thanks guys. That give me a little bit of an outreach to some of their customers. So what happens after that? About an hour later, I get an email from Extra Life saying, you have received a $500 donation. And I'm like, what? No way. Who the heck did that? And I went and checked, and no kidding, the CEO of Start Communications donated $500 to my campaign. I was dumbstruck. All I did was ask them for a retweet, and they did that, and then they contributed the better part of a third of the total money I raised. I have literally never had to speak to this company other than from the time I signed up for their service. They didn't know me from anybody except an entry in a customer service database. Like, that's all they knew of me. And I just said, and I'm not even playing, I wasn't even playing for their local children's hospital. I'm not sure if they have a children's hospital in London, but if not, their closest hospital would be Sick Kids in Toronto. So I wasn't even playing for a hospital that benefits their local community. And yeah, unprompted, unsolicited, unasked, on anything, they stepped up and they're a small company. They stepped up and donated $500 to my Extra Life. I am stunned. And yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm still a little choked up thinking about it. It was so unexpected, and Friday, the day they did that, was not a very good day for me. This friggin' phone that I have, the one of the buttons on it died, and I couldn't use it, and I had to run it and get an emergency repaired for a bunch of money and all that other crap, and it really frustrated me, and the day had not gone very well overall, but they stepped up and did that, and it was just incredible. And you guys have got one hell of an evangelist on your hands. I try my best to get everyone I deal with to get off the big internet providers, and you're definitely the guys I'm recommending from now on. Thank you so much. That is amazing, and it's a real testament to these to small companies like that, and why you should deal with small business instead of big business. It was really something. So yeah, of course, we have crossed the $1,000 mark and then some, so I gotta play Soma in one sitting. Oh joy. So yes, I've already purchased it. It's already installed and configured and ready to go. I'm going to see what happens timing-wise. It will probably be either this coming Saturday or the following Saturday. It's going to depend on some timing things. I'm waiting to hear back on a job I interviewed for, so that's going to determine when I can do it. But don't worry, there will be plenty of announcements about that, so people can pile in and watch that day if they want. And it will be done and cut up as a Let's Play that will go up on YouTube as well. So you'll have plenty of opportunities to watch it, don't worry. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's going to be fun. And I don't know. I might see if I can think up some other kind of weird stretch goal to do if we could hit $2,000 by the time I end that stream. I don't know. We'll see about that. But maybe we can think up something, because that would be a hell of a thing indeed. So yeah, there's some other thanks I want to give. I also want to give a thanks to Glenn Gower, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, from stittsvillecentral.ca. It is a website dedicated to serving the residents of this suburb of Ottawa that we live in. He talks about a whole bunch of different things on there. It's a pretty good website. And I actually emailed him out of the blue because my side business has placed ads on his website before and some other things. And I just went, hey, I'm a local Stittsville guy raising money for Chiyo through this thing. Is there anything we could do about it? And he said, yeah, if you want to write a little 400-word article about it, I'll post it. And I was like, oh, cool. So I did that. And he totally posted it on the website and drove some awareness for that. Did it for free, completely unprompted. And that was really cool of him. So thank you, Glenn, for letting me do that. That was really good of you. I really appreciate it. Yeah. So it was a quite a year this year. The fundraising went much better than I expected. I'm still amazed how much money we were able to raise given my situation. Yeah, I hope, I love Extra Life. I love doing it, and I have no intention of stopping, so we'll be back next year. But yeah, how about the day itself? Well, the day itself was pretty cool as well. So this was Dr. Poulet's first year doing Extra Life ever. And we decided to do co-op for the whole day. So he was actually here. You saw we had the dual face cam thing going. The original plan was to have him sit just kind of over here by me, but we realized that created a bunch of crosstalk on the mic. So he was actually on the opposite end of the basement, which goes a ways back beyond this shelf here. He was against the opposite wall. And we put his PC there, and we actually bought a 40-foot USB repeater cable in order to take the webcam from over there and run it all the way into the front of my tower here, which worked really well. I was kind of surprised how well it worked, actually. And we used a TeamSpeak server that I was hosting on my own computer here to get the high-quality voice chat and keep the lag to a minimum, which worked really well. Actually, I was very pleased with how that setup ended up working out. We could still hear ourselves in the real world before it came through the TeamSpeak a little bit, but when we had game audio going on, it was never an issue. So I was very pleased about that. I think it worked out really well. And Poulet did well. I was really crashing out pretty hard in the last couple of hours. People probably saw me sort of nodding off on the camera, trying to stay awake, and it didn't look like he had that problem, so he fared better than I did. But I also front-loaded caffeine more than he did, so I think I was crashing more, which is kind of my own fault. But the day went really well, so we didn't play as many games as we had planned to, but the games that we did play, we played a lot and really enjoyed. We played the entirety of the Warhammer End Times Vermintide campaign on normal difficulty, which was 13 missions. That game is a lot of fun. It's kind of like Left 4 Dead with a much more heavy melee focus and loot and upgradable classes. I really like it. It's got performance problems, as many Fat Shark games do, but it's a blast to play, and I really want to go back to that and play it on hard some more. And apparently there's a lot more content coming for it, so I'm really looking forward to that. We had a really good time with that. Yeah, so I should say as well, we had Keymaster tagging along for most of the day. Keymaster, I actually met him. His name is Andrew. I met him actually through my Twitch chat in 2012 when I was doing 24 Hours of Dark Souls for Extra Life. And we've kind of been online friends since then. We played a bunch of games together and stuff. We don't do that as often as I'd like. It's something I need to work on. But he... last year, when I did Extra Life and I was still doing it by myself, he popped in the day of and he's like, all right, I'm set to hang out for the 24 hours. And I was like, what? And he actually said he was going to hang out for the whole 24 hours, and he totally did. He nodded off once on stream, which was pretty funny, but yeah, he hung around the whole time, and he was going to do it again this year. And I was like, dude, you are out of your friggin' mind. And he had been nursing strep throat and some other stuff for several days prior to that, and I was just like, are you friggin' crazy? But I'm like, okay, if you want. And he was on TeamSpeak with us and played games with us all day rather than just watching, which was, I hope, more fun for him. He actually had to bail, I think, around 3 a.m. because the illness he was recovering from kind of got the better of him and he couldn't stay awake anymore, which, I mean, I totally understand. It's amazing that he was willing to do that in the first place. But yeah, we played a bunch of Vermintide together. That was a lot of fun. We played, so we did that. After that, we switched over to Killing Floor 2 for a good while. Poulet hadn't played that before. He actually bought it that day, and the game, Keymaster and I really enjoyed that game, but it wasn't really Poulet's cup of tea, so we only played for a couple of hours, and he managed to get a Steam refund on it. which was good. I didn't, I would have felt bad. It was a $30 game, and if he didn't like it and didn't want to play it again, I didn't want him to get stuck with it. So we changed that out. We played, oh man, so we played a whole bunch of spin tires. So I streamed this year both to Twitch and to YouTube because I figured out how to make that work. YouTube is supposed to auto-archive all your live streams, but my Extra Life stream is still stuck in processing. Because it was such a long stream, I don't know if it will ever finish. If it does, it will probably take days. Or it may just get stuck, because I'm sure YouTube was not really designed to handle streams that long. Twitch has issues with that too, so we'll see. But if it does finish processing, I think I might try to extract the section where we played Spin Tires out and make a highlight reel of it, because, oh my god. Like, Spin Tires is a game that could have only come out of the Eastern Bloc. Let me put it that way. Go look this game up if you want to know what it's about, because it is so weird, but it's so cool in its own way. And Poulet and I had played it before, but had not in a very long time, and we'd completely forgotten how it worked. Keymaster and another guy who played it with us, who I'll talk about him later, had never touched it before. And it was a comedy of hilarious failure and all sorts of other things for several hours. I cannot remember the last time I have laughed that much in such a short period of time. It was just, oh my god, it was so hilarious. And it was a ton of fun, and we actually figured everything out, and despite our repeated failures, we didn't end up finishing a level, but we almost did. It actually went pretty well. And it was something. I really want people to be able to see that. Oh man, Spin Tires, what a game, man. It was really, really fun, and I really enjoyed that. We played some Alien Swarm, which is actually a free top-down co-op shooter thing that Valve put out a number of years ago now, but they gave it out for free, and I never got a chance to try it back in the day. And we played that for a while, and we actually liked that too. I'd like to finish it. It's not very long, so I enjoyed that. We had a good time with that. What else did we play? We played a little bit of Warframe, which has kind of become a yearly tradition for the last couple of years. The problem with the Warframe has is I really like it. It plays well, and oh my god, the style in that game, it looks so good. I really love that. But the problem is, when we first played Warframe was when it was in its early beta, and it's practically a different game from then. They have added so much to it, and it looks and plays completely differently. And that's good, but the problem is that for whatever reason, they will not allow you to reset your account, even if you haven't put any money into the game, which I haven't. And it's so different now that we looked at it and we're like, we don't know where we are. We don't know what to do. We don't know how to properly equip ourselves. Like, the menus and the crafting system is really confusing if you're not familiar with it. And we were just like, we don't know. So we didn't end up playing that for very long. And I don't know if I'm going to pick that game up again. It looks so cool, but if they won't allow me to reset my account and start over and figure things out, I just don't know what to do with it. So I might email their tech support and just ask politely if they'd be willing to do that, especially since I didn't put any money into the game. But we'll see. If not, I don't think I'll be going back to it. And it's too bad, because Warframe is really cool. And it's a free-to-play game that's based around co-op and not competition, which I think is really interesting. But yeah, we played some of that, and then after Keymaster had to leave, Poulet and I decided to dig hardcore into Orcs Must Die 2, which came out quite some time ago. It's a third-person tower defense-y kind of game, but the second game has co-op in it. And I never really got to play it, and neither did he, and we were like, well, this is a good opportunity since there's only two of us, and we played that for a long time. We got to the third last mission in the game, which is brutally hard. The difficulty curve in that game kind of goes like this, and then near the end does this. We replayed that mission a number of times, and we were getting extremely tired and frustrated, and we were just like, okay, we got to stop this here because this is just not working out anymore. But I would like to finish that game. That was a lot of fun, so I'm hoping we can do that. And then we just finished the evening off with some Dirty Bomb. Dirty Bomb is a free-to-play competitive shooter that's still in beta. And it's a good game. Unfortunately, because it's free, the chat is filled with idiots, and you can't turn it off, the text chat anyway, which is too bad. But it was a good ender. It was easy to play. And then we got through it. But Yeah, not as many games as we thought we were going to play. We wanted to play No More Room in Hell again, which we discovered a couple of years ago, and we did not. I might see if I can get that posse together to play it independently some night, because I want to see where that game has come to, and see if it's the incredible torture that it used to be. But yeah, that was the sort of game day, and it was really cool. And the amazing thing is, like, I talked about how I met Keymaster a few years ago, and we met somebody else this year in a very similar fashion, and it was quite something. So while we were playing Killing Floor 2, a guy named Teddy Monstar jumped into my chat. And he was just talking to us and whatnot, and he said at one point that he actually just looks for streams that are playing Killing Floor 2 because he really loves that game. And he was like, hey, do you mind if I jump into the server with you? Because we were just on a public server, and we were like, yeah, sure, come on in. And he jumped in, and we were playing for a while, and he seemed like a cool guy. And we were like, hey, why don't you, here's the TeamSpeak server info. Why don't you jump in here with us? Because we're going to go play Spin Tires. And he was like, okay, sure. He didn't actually own Spin Tires, and Spin Tires is unfortunately really expensive. But the cool thing is, out of some fluke of luck, it's actually part of the current Humble Bundle. And there was other games in that bundle I wanted, so I was like, well, hey, I'll just buy the bundle and give you the code for Spin Tires. And he was like, okay, sure. He's a fascinating guy. He was really, really cool, but it's interesting. So he is in the United States Armed Forces, actually. I'm not sure what part of the Armed Forces, but he was actually combat deployed overseas and is currently in a base in Texas, riding out the rest of his time in the military because when he was deployed, he lost a sizable chunk of his leg in his service. And he bought himself a really, really killer computer, and he's spending most of his days right now until his time runs out. He's playing a lot of games. Games are sort of what's helping him pass the time while he's dealing with this. And it was really interesting listening to him talk about this a little bit. And yeah, he hung around for hours. Much like Keymaster, this was a guy we didn't know in the slightest before this day. And he just jumped in and he played a bunch of games with us. His military knowledge was actually kind of cool at figuring out Spin Tires, because Spin Tires is very kind of simulation-y in terms of what it expects you to know about how big trucks work. And he understood all that because he's driven a bunch of big trucks. So that was actually really helpful. But yeah, we played a bunch of these other games together, and he was a really cool guy, and he's on my Steam friends list now. So and he thought it was really cool what we were doing, and it was a really cool experience. So thanks for hanging out, man. You were really cool, and it was a lot of fun. And it's, people talk about all the toxicity and everything else on the internet these days, and there's no doubt that exists. But when I can, run into someone randomly in Twitch chat of all places and end up finding someone really cool, multiple people, as it turns out, over the years, that's really cool to play games with and to talk to, that is really heartwarming and really gratifying. And I was really glad we could do that. And I'm glad you had fun with us too. I hope we can play a bunch more stuff together for sure. I really want to see if I can get a regular game night together with some of these guys. Like, Poulet is a very busy guy, and he has a young kid at home, which is interesting, and difficult for his time. And Keymaster's busy too, and just, and I'm just really bad at coordinating with people and keeping touch with people. I have always been really bad at that. It's something I've tried to work on, and I've never really tried to improve, but these are really good guys, and I don't get to do stuff with them nearly enough, and that's as much my fault as anyone else's. So I really want to see if I could get like a regular night, even if it was just once every couple of weeks or something, where we just get together and play some stuff together. It doesn't have to be for video, doesn't have to be streamed or anything like that, just to hang out, because it's just so much fun playing stuff with these guys, and I really hope we can do that more often. But yeah, the day went well. I definitely want to thank as well our significant others, my girlfriend Sarah and Poulet's wife Emma. They were amazing as per usual. My girlfriend, took the dog out that day, walking Riley, who is presently passed out behind me here. I normally take him out for the better part of an hour a day. She took him out that day because I couldn't do it, obviously. She brought us lunch. She brought us coffee. She brought us beer. kept us fed and motivated throughout the day. She stayed at her parents' that night so that we wouldn't keep her up with our yammering down here. But in the evening, Emma actually came by. She brought us dinner. She brought us more coffee. She brought us energy drinks. I don't drink energy drinks, but Poulet had a couple of those to keep him going, which was really, really sweet of her. She actually offered to come by in like the middle of the night with more coffee, which we were like, no, you don't have to do that. That's okay. But they were really amazing. My buddy Dan, also known as Styles XP, brought us coffee again later in the evening, which was really, really cool. But I can't thank all of them enough, and I cannot thank my girlfriend Sarah enough. She's always been very, very supportive of Extra Life and has always done whatever she can to help me out, and that's one of the many amazing things about her. So thank you, babe. I love you so much. And yeah, it was a really cool day, and this was definitely my Dark Souls stream year was probably one of the most memorable ones because, I had a huge bunch of people in my chat helping me out and that year, and it was just it really came together in an interesting way. But I think this one is my new record for the coolest year, just because I got to do it with someone else who really enjoyed it. I met another cool person doing it. I got to hang out with the cool person I met a couple of years ago doing it, and it was really special. And the fundraising I thought was going to be probably one of my worst years ever, and it's one of my best years ever. And it's really heartwarming to see how many people stepped up and made that possible. It has really been one of the highlights of this year for me. This year has not been without its share of difficulties in my life in some ways, not the least of which is my unemployment that I have right now. But yeah, this really spruced things up, and it really makes me happy to see that. So thank you, everybody who stepped up in both expected and surprising ways. And I'm just so glad to see Extra Life as a whole doing so well. There's been a lot of controversies in the last year about gaming and gaming culture and gamers specifically. And, there are a lot of people right now who seem to do nothing but shit on gamers and get paid thousands of dollars a month through Patreon to do nothing but whine on Twitter while doing little else. And I have to wonder how many of these people who called gamers dead the better part of 15 months ago raised money for sick kids yesterday, because you know what? Gamers raised a ton. And it was gamers and gaming culture that made this happen. So the next time these people many of whom don't seem to do anything productive with their time and yet get paid lots of money for it, want to step up and insult the gaming audience, I dare say you should just go look at the amount of money we raised and maybe rethink about the people that you're crapping on a daily basis. Because when I look at them and what gamers did, I think it's pretty obvious who's actually doing more good for the world. It's really gratifying to see that. I hope this event continues to grow. I hope it continues to explode in popularity and do really, really well. So yeah, there's not too much else to say this year. I'm really glad the stream went so well. I had one computer crash the whole time, which I think was just a weird software glitch. I tell you what, this Core i7 rig that I built in 2011 has got 1 trillion hours on it, and it's starting to show its age. I really wondered if this computer could handle both playing big games and encoding for Twitch and YouTube at the same time, and it totally did it. This thing was running at its red line for 24 hours straight, and other than that one crash, which was not hardware related, it held up like a champ, and the streams worked really well, and I was really stunned. I'm hoping when I get a job to build a new rig, but this thing still got life in it, which I'm very happy about. So, yeah, great day, great time, great cause, and I can't wait to do it again next year. As always, this is now a one heck of a yearly tradition for me, and just once again, thank you to everyone who did this with me, everyone who contributed, everyone who helped. You're all amazing, and I thank you, and Chiyo thanks you too. So, yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. If you liked what you saw here, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It does help me out a great deal. And yeah, my Castlevania series is going to get back on track in the next couple of days. I'm going to be starting that Read Only Memories series too, as well, I hope. Finally getting that going. And yeah, hopefully getting a job soon. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, we'll be back with Extra Life next year for sure. And watch the channel and watch geekbravado.com and PXA Media on Twitter, because I will be announcing when the Soma show will happen. And it will be pretty soon. So that's going to be a hell of a day, I'll tell you what. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, and take it easy.